All right guys, we're picking back up on our woodshed project, and today I'm gonna get started on milling some of the beams. They're gonna sit on top of the posts that we just put in, and we're gonna be using this chainsaw mill that we just got. So the saw we're gonna be using today is gonna be a Husqvarna. It's a 550 XP and it has a 20-inch bar on it. This is a 50cc chainsaw, and I believe that is about the minimum size you wanna use when you're milling lumber like this. So we're gonna see how that goes. We're not doing the biggest logs today. We're gonna be making D logs, so one side is not gonna be cut. It's gonna be kind of a live edge on there, and they're gonna be 4 inches by 6 inches, so they're not too big. I'm pretty confident this saw is gonna get through them. I got a nice sharp chain on there. I'm just using a regular chain today. A lot of times when people use these, they'll use something called a ripping chain, which is a chain that's been filed at a 10-degree angle. I actually do have one in there that I filed up from an old chain I have. I'm gonna give this one a go and see how this one works, and if I need to switch out to the other one, I will. So as far as assembly with this chainsaw mill, it really didn't come with that good of instructions. It came with good instructions on how to actually put this little thing together, but it didn't come with anything on how to actually use it. So I kind of did the best research I could online. So I rigged up this rail system using a couple of 2x4s, and it seems like it's gonna work out pretty good. What I've done here so far is I've taken a couple rounds from a birch tree and I cut some notches in them, and that's holding our logs steady in place. And then I came in here and I figured out what size we're gonna do. We're doing a 4-inch by 6-inch. And then I took a level and I found the top part of the log, and I also did on the other side, and then I took a square and I squared off our beam. So it's gonna be 6 inches, 4 inches, and then this is going to be the part that's considered the D log. We're not gonna touch that side. We're pretty much all set, ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is fire up the chainsaw, warm it up, and then this chainsaw mill is just basically gonna slide across these guides until we get to the end of the log. So that went surprisingly well. That saw, I don't know, that only took like a couple minutes to get through. That saw did really well. Let's take this top piece off and see what it looks like. Awesome, looks great. All right, so what I think I'm gonna do next is I need to get, you know, one side cut off right here, then I also needed to get the bottom squared off. And I think what I'm gonna do is over on this end, I'm not gonna put that little guide system back on. I'm basically gonna take the chainsaw mill, and it's adjustable, and I'm gonna lower it down until I get to this bottom line, and then I'm gonna try to cut through that whole bottom section, and then we'll roll it up on its edge, and then we'll cut this top piece off, and then one of these beams will be done. This is the part right here I was talking about. You can adjust it. These are the adjusters, and they have little inch marks on them, so you can get them both even. So I'm gonna drop this way down until we can cut this. It's a little over 4 inches. And all you do to do that is you take the little tool it came with, and you loosen up these U-bolts until they're just loose. You can get both of them. This was the part that probably took me the longest when I was putting this thing together, was actually getting the chainsaw, you know, level exactly on that line I had drawn, because while you're sitting there and this thing is resting on the guide, the chainsaw is heavy, so this thing just wants to keep falling down. So it is kind of hard to get it perfect if you're just using one person. So I got these just loosely tightened right now, and I'm pretty sure I got it where it needs to be. So I'm gonna get these tightened up and we'll start cutting again. All right, we got both sides cut. Now I need to figure out how I need to get that little guide that I made on that top section. And once I get it on there, it should go pretty easy because that's a lot thinner piece of wood. So I'm gonna see if I can get that one unscrewed from that first piece and get put on this one. All right, that's a hit. This thing is awesome. Wow, it turned out really good. We're probably gonna peel the bark off of it, but man, I can't believe this actually looks like just a piece of store-bought lumber. You know, it's so straight. And this was the first log that I've ever cut with that thing. I basically set it up on this one. This was kind of our trial and error one. Turned out awesome. We're definitely gonna be able to use this one. We need 8-foot posts for over there. So I'm gonna cut each one of these at 9 feet, give us a little bit of wiggle room. And like I mentioned before, what I've read online is about a 50cc chainsaw is the least amount of power you want for this, and that is 50 cc's, and that pretty much has no problem going through this. I definitely recommend using a saw that size for this. I can only imagine if you had a bigger saw, go through even quicker. But this one's done. We'll just have to put it over by the shed and peel the bark off, and then we'll be able to get started on our next one. Alright guys, we are on log number 6, which is our last log. I ended up touching up my chainsaw after log number 4, but honestly, it probably would have made it the whole way. That chainsaw is just ripping through these logs. It's doing an awesome job. So far, definitely really impressed with how that little chainsaw mill is working. And between, you know, cutting the log to 8 feet or 9 feet, which we're doing, getting it over here on the stand, kind of limiting it up a little, and then getting my measurements, getting my square drawn on here, and then actually milling the log until it's a complete beam, it's probably going to take a little under an hour. So it definitely takes a long time. I think actually cutting the log takes the least amount of time. It's more your measurements and getting everything straight. So we got one more log to do, and then we are going to bring them all over to where the woodshed is and see if we can get them to fit up on top. Stick it right on top of that one.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, pretty much you sang that song and now I have it stuck in my head.
Which one?
Walk with me now.
I've been singing the same thing for like 6 hours today.
I was singing that?
I'm pretty sure you were singing it, or the radio was singing it, someone was singing it. Is the goal to go up top?
Yep.
Dang! Think for that at all? Like the standard? No? Doesn't matter, right?
All right, guys, we got those front 3 beams up there, and they actually turned out really good. I'm really happy with them. They're not, you know, we're milling with the chainsaw, so they're not like to the T, but they're within like a 1/4 inch of their width, so it should work out pretty good. And I got these big 8-inch bolts, and each post where the beams meet, where they meet in the center, they're gonna get 2 of these bolts, but then on each end, they're gonna get 1 big one. And then we'll move to the back side, and we'll see if we can get these ones right here up on top. At least you know the flares fits, right? She gave all she could give.
I think because we were imagining how they were gonna go. I was imagining at the same time. Where's the other one?
All right, we got the beams on the front and the back, and we got them all bolted on. Next on the list is we're gonna measure out exactly 24 feet because that's how much metal roofing we have. And we're gonna start there, and we're gonna start putting in our brackets. I believe they're called hurricane ties. And we're gonna put one every 18 inches. Just gonna mark it off. We're gonna mark it off with a pencil, and we're gonna nail those on, and then we're gonna start laying some 2x4s on.
All right, we are wrapping up for the night because we are both starving. It's just before 10 o'clock and we have some moose, we've got mushrooms, there's bok choy, rice, a whole bunch of other things, and we're calling them lettuce wraps.
Yep.
They're really good. We've had them before. We got a lot accomplished today, really happy, but we're starving.
Yep, we got a ton done today. It all started with milling those logs, and We got all the support up for the roof, and we got the 1x4s up there. And then I think tomorrow we're gonna tackle putting up the metal roofing. We're gonna eat dinner and we'll see you guys in the morning.
You got it?
Yep.
Go up on your lower left. There you go.
We have the metal roofing up top and we have it all in place, and we went ahead and screwed in this front section to the 1x4 just so it's in place and it's not going to move. Now I'm going to go up there and we're going to start screwing in the whole entire thing. And when we're screwing it in, we want to screw into the 1x4s that we ran this way, not the 2x4s. So to be able to get it to hit the 1x4s, I got some paracord here and I got our stapler, and I'm going to take one end of this, hook it to the 1x4, run it over the metal roofing, and then connect it to the same 1x4. That way when I'm up on top of the roofing looking down, I can just put a screw where this piece of string is, and it's gonna go right into the 1x4, and I'm not gonna miss that and put holes in the metal roofing.
Alright guys, we're going to take a break from this project. We've gotten really far and we're really super excited with how it looks. I think we're pretty excited, even though it is just for wood, but I think it turned out really well.
Yeah, Arielle and I both agree that this is probably one of the coolest things we built. Turned out really good so far, but we still got a ton of work we're going to do on this thing, and it's going to be a lot of time-consuming work. We're going to get some sections built where we're going to be able to actually stack the wood, because obviously you can't just put wood in here, it's going to fall over. We're going to be putting up some sort of siding, I guess we would call it, to keep the snow and the weather out of there. So yeah, definitely got a lot of work still to come on this thing.
Lots of wood to stack and fill it up too. One question that we seem to find quite a bit on the part 1 video of this woodshed was why we charred the bottom of the post, and so that's a new technique for Eric and I. It's not a new technique at all. In fact, it's just a way to prevent rot and make the posts last longer when they're in direct contact with soil, even gravel too, and moisture. So we haven't tried it. We want to just see if it helps protect them longer. I have a pretty good feeling that it will help, and we will let you guys know what we think in a few years.
Yep, and that's going to do it for today. We'll see you guys later.